Welcome to Jobbed Out, the wrestling editorial that reminds you, you know what, let's let Keanu Reeves tell it.
You need a license to buy a dog, or drive a car. Hell, you need a license to catch a fish. But they'll let any butt-reaming asshole be a father.
Whoa. Since I know it's going to come up in the comments, I'm going to point it out now. I'm using she and her pronouns not as a statement, but because the Associated Press handbook says to use the pronouns that a subject prefers to use. So a couple months ago, while the wrestling world was being rocked by the Roman Reigns heel turn and word that Brock Lesnar was no longer with the company, an interesting little bit of news slipped under everybody's radar. Essentially, Washington Heights, a well-known Baltimore and DC area drag queen performer, put word out that, due to her career choices, she had updated her famous father's Wikipedia page to note that the famous father had disowned his son. That famous father in question? Original gangsta New Jack. The very guy who stabbed William Jason Lane in a match, the guy who tased Vic Grimes before throwing him off a scaffold, the man who sent mass transit to the hospital for daring to fill a spot when Axl Rotten no-showed, and of course, the clown that beat and bloodied Terry Runnels while they were dating. Let's pretend that New Jack being shitty is a surprise. Well, I guess in a way it is. Based on New Jack's track record and how proud he is of being awful to people, Heights should be lucky to be alive. Anyway, I did some searching into this in early September, even got in contact with Heights, but ultimately I didn't go forward with the piece because I couldn't find conclusive evidence that Jack, real name Jerome Young, was the father of Heights, real name Kyle Sharp. A few days after that had happened, New Jack himself put a Facebook video saying this.
I would just like to say to you little faggot motherfucker, you know who you are. And you're not my son, you bitch.
Now there's two ways to take that. New Jack is either telling an obsessed fan perpetuating a hoax that the story isn't true, or he's doubling down and reaffirming Heights' story about being cut out so that New Jack's fans don't know he fathered a drag queen. It was at this time too that New Jack's Wikipedia page was locked due to vandalism, as the Heights note was being repeatedly removed and re-added by editors. Even though the reality of the issue wasn't as much over whether the two are related, but more that Heights' bio doesn't have anything to do with New Jack's career. Again, because I couldn't find anything conclusive, I let the piece go until now. Today, an article showed up on Vice, the network that hosts Dark Side of the Ring, who themselves did a piece on New Jack that showcased how morbid and demented the guy is as a person, while somehow increasing his popularity among wrestling fans. The article itself focuses on the split between Heights and Jack and what led to it, including New Jack removing Heights as a Facebook friend a couple years ago, and the claim that Jack didn't want them to put anything about Heights doing drag on his Wikipedia. Within that same article, New Jack said the following. My son was mentioned in my book that just came out last year, so the statement about me disowning him 3 years ago is simply not true. I've heard there was a mention on his Twitter feed that he was upset because he was only mentioned once in a chapter that was half a page long. I spoke briefly about him and 4 of my other children. He was actually one of my kids that was mentioned by name. I also mentioned the fact that I keep any information about all of my kids private because that has nothing to do with wrestling and is my own personal business, that I prefer to keep private. Well, shit. Okay, so New Jack admits that Washington Heights is his son, though he's claiming he never denied it.
And you're not my son, you bitch.
Well, it is perfectly reasonable to keep your home life separate from your work life, that his kids have nothing to do with his legacy, and that they are entitled to privacy. Why would Heights come out, so to speak, and tell people that she's estranged from her father unprovoked if it wasn't true? Heights wasn't promoting anything that could benefit from a celebrity rub from a guy whose most powerful hold is a staple gun to the forehead. The idea that the son was so upset about being mentioned in half a page of a book, I'm not buying that. According to Heights, Jack cut her out 2 years before the book even came out, so obviously Jack wouldn't know if Heights even read the thing, let alone what part bothers her. Perhaps Heights was lashing out against New Jack using a story about the son that he refuses to speak to for sympathy. Remember, keeping your family out of the limelight and keeping your family no contact are two really different things. I wasn't too sure New Jack's even capable of learning and growing, but this statement device clearly shows I might be wrong. I mean, I don't know the guy personally, I don't want to know him personally. However, Heights does, so who knows how this turns out. It doesn't look too good after New Jack's Facebook Live comments, which Heights hadn't even seen until Vice showed them to her during the interview. Heights responded, "I wanted some kind of response or reaction from him. Was it the best response? No. Do I finally have my answer as to where he stands with our relationship? Yes. In the end, I hope these two can at least be in the same room and talk as father and son eventually. But it's on them to be open, transparent, and clear. New Jack wants to show the world that New Jack is a man. Well then, New Jack, be a man and sort out your home life. Cause right now, all the wrestling world sees is an insecure fool who's more worried about what the fans think of him than what his family thinks of him." Now that's just my opinion though. What do you think about the New Jack family drama? Is New Jack right to keep his family out of the spotlight, or is he just trying to protect his reputation at their expense? Do you think New Jack's statement shows that he's trying to grow, or is this just some ploy to get more attention on his book and sell a few more copies? Let me know what you think in the comments, and be sure to subscribe for more because I want you to be a part of this conversation too. For now though, I better get my shoulders off the mat, so thank you for tuning in to Jobbed Out. I'll catch you next time.